Here we go again. How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a lot of things that's been a little spicy.
Very spicy.
This weekend. I know this isn't a wrestling podcast, but before we get started into the topics, you're wearing a Word Life hoodie.
Yep.
John
I had
Cena.
to represent John Cena. Still my favorite person ever.
Still your favorite person?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm happy about that one.
He shocked the world, Turner Hill. Elimination Chamber with Travis Scott.
Yeah.
No less. Okay.
And
I'm with it.
finally, then also the one I'm not so happy about, Jade Cargill.
Yeah. Well,
Naomi.
we still don't know. It did suck watching our girl get beat up like that. Couldn't even participate in the match.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so invested in where things go with that. Like, oh my God, I'm so into it.
Me too. But that's enough wrestling talk. After the intro, we got some other spicy things that we got to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's version of Six Heart Media production. How you feeling, Miss Queen PR?
I am good. I'm preparing for this busy season that's coming up for us work-wise. It's a lot going on, but I feel good.
I will say this. I feel good, and I'll say this publicly as I've said this privately. I'm excited for this busy season. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else but you.
Same.
And I'm excited. But, you know, our first topic today,
Mm-hmm.
Boy Meets World. First, before we get to that, scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank your fandom?
Growing up, me and my sister loved Boy Meets World.
Okay.
We watched it religiously. And even like the college years, like we loved it. We were like all in. It's not something I've revisited yet.
Oh.
But now with all the tea, I might just
Did you say
have to rewatch it.
rewatch?
Maybe.
Because you know I'm down.
Maybe, yeah.
I didn't. So I watched it sporadically during the TGIF days, right? And then when I was in college, by this time we got satellite television. I would come home. It was on regular. It was in syndication. I would watch it then. But my time where I really took the time, like it was must-see television was about 2013 when I was at ESPN. 2013, 2014, every day before I was on I want to say it was a 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift. And every day around like 2 or 3, I would watch it before going to work, you know, because I would eat dinner, which was kind of like a lunch sort of, but I would cook like, you know, like dinner food, eat, watch that, go to work, and maybe, you know, it was like my meals was all over the place. But this week, so have you been listening to Boy Meets World?
I have not, unless just like clips I've seen. Like I know Liv Morgan was on an episode, but I don't listen to it religiously. I do think that rewatch pods with the cast of the shows are always really super successful. Yeah, especially you grab that audience that's like obsessed with it, you know, with the right cast members. So with Pod Meets World, you have Topanga, Eric, and Sean. And it's Topanga, so it's like it's spot on. But I didn't realize that there was so much smoke between the cast members, especially with the Girl Meets World reboot being toxic, and Ben Savage doesn't talk to them anymore. And then they had one character on there recently, and shit got spicy. Yeah,
so they had Maitland Ward. She played Rachel. Rachel was the roommate. If you remember, at one point she came in, she joined the show. She was their roommate. And it was like, wait, y'all have a woman as a roommate? And there was like, you know, at this time, Sean is dating Angela, played by Trina McGee. You know, Corey was dating Topanga, obviously. And they were getting ready to get married. And but they brought Rachel in. And it was like, she was just like the smoking hot woman. And they was like, wow. And they was like, you know, like, it was that thing on TV because it's kind of awkward, but it's like, y'all really doing that with y'all ladies right there? But it was kind of that thing where, all right, we love our ladies, but she's a looker, you know, and it was one of them things. It's like, get over here. So, and they brought her on the show because they're, like you said, they're doing a rewatch. Mm-hmm. And it was like, this is the point where she talks. So this is where it gets crazy. And when you and I listened to it, Danielle Fishel, who is Topanga, said, she said, why do you hate us? Or do you hate us? And that's when I was like, uh-oh. So they go back and forth. Maitland said, you were hard to deal with. And, you was basically, even tried to say, Danielle was jealous maybe of her success. And I remember when Danielle did Maxim magazine. And I don't know, do you remember the Maxim era?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like WWE at that time. And this is probably in your blind spot. There was Kelly, I believe, was on there. And they treated it the way they treated Playboy in the Attitude Era, right? So it's like, oh yeah, this was on the cover of Max. I believe Eve Torres was on there. So Topanga was on there. And if anybody who like looked at Maxim, it wasn't nude or even implied nude. It was just like,
This is another men's magazine. Yeah. Throw a hot girl on the cover vibe.
Right. So she brought that up and she was like, I did Maxim. So like, what I had to be jealous about? You did, adult films and you felt empowered. That's fine. I didn't feel empowered. So I listened to that. So what was your thoughts when you listening to all of this stuff, all of this hot tea brewing, and what was your thoughts on it?
My thoughts were like, as soon as she said, why do you hate us? You just felt the whole tone of the pod change. Like, and it really just sounds like people that have worked together in the past for years and years and years ago that have their own interpretation of what went down while they worked together years ago, and that are finally being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me though was I just think also just wild for you to accuse the actress that played Topanga being jealous of you. Like, I don't think anyone even, like, you were on 2 seasons towards the end of the show. Like, you're, when I think of Boy Meets World cast, like, you do not, like, I don't think of you per se. And the fact that you've leaned into adult films and OnlyFans and all of that kind of stuff kind of just shows like where you are in your career. And her also wanting to have this conversation with Topanga on the podcast shows that she will do anything for publicity. And I love that Danielle confronted her about talking to TMZ every single chance she got. And I get it. Maitland is not you, Danielle. So when something trending is talked about, or if the pod is trending, Boy Meets World is trending, Maitland's going to get her 15 minutes of fame and might call TMZ or make a comment. Like, I so believe that. Like, I believe all of that. And I'm glad that they confronted her about it. I don't think they got anywhere. Any resolution, but it was definitely an interesting listen because they went back and forth for a while and they addressed a lot of different things and feelings that they've had over the years. And it's like, you unfriend me on Facebook, I didn't even know we were friends on Facebook. So silly, but at the same time such good tea, and it trended online for so many days, and I'm glad I was able to finally listen to it because it was wild.
Yeah, because like some of their pods, sometimes you see a lot of video clips. I didn't see any video clips of this, but I saw like a lot of audio grabs. And
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, because, I saw they had a podcast. Like, okay, another podcast, whatever. And I would listen to like clips about certain things. And, because I remember I told you about the Scandal one. And I said, I listened to like the first 2, but then I'm like, I'm not watching the show. So a rewatch pod isn't like for me. It's kind of like when we and I guess it was different. Like, did you listen to the watch alongs or something to wrestle with?
No, I didn't particularly like those.
Okay. See, and that's the thing. I think I may have did one. And, it would be cool, like, if it was a car ride, like, all right, yeah, especially if it was a show that I like.
Yeah.
An episode of Raw or Nitro or whatever that I like. But because this wasn't that, it was just like, it's not, But what I thought was interesting was the fact that I love when, I'm going to call her Topanga on this show, because she always going to be Topanga. Shout out. And she's a wrestling fan, so she know. She one of us.
We love her.
Yeah, but what I loved was the fact that she said, well, how come TMZ is always outside your house? Like, do they just find you on the street? And she was not letting up, and I loved everything about it. I thought that was great, so but Maitland wanted to rock the stats.
Yeah, and that's what she chose to do. Well, good for you, girl. I hope you got a couple extra subs on your OnlyFans.
Wow.
I mean,
you're not. Because this
what?
No, but see, this is why I love doing this show with you, because you don't hold back.
I'm just saying, obviously, like that's what she's about now. So, I mean, you want it, attention. Go ahead. Because again, never thought about her as a like. I remember her on the show, obviously, but I'm not really checking for her or anything. I didn't even know that was her real name. But now I did go on her Instagram because I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. So, girl, get your 15 minutes of fame. I do not fault her for calling TMZ about things because, again, like, she's not on your level. She needs publicity and she gonna get it. That's the world we live in, and it was a good pod. So
yeah, I'd be interested to know why Ben Savage isn't speaking. That's
that's interesting, especially after Girl Meets World, and also like what made that set so toxic.
Yeah,
as well. Very interesting.
Show? No, never gave it a shot.
No,
I was excited for it because it comes out at a time. Remember I told you 2014 years or whatever my life. So then it was like, oh, but this is coming out. I believe it was 2015. And I'm like hyped. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get they all grown up. But then it was super Disney-fied. And that's what made me, I was like, something's not right. I don't know what it is. I kept watching it because you know how I am with my relationship with television. And I remember my child was like 5 at the time, just laughing like, Daddy, why are you watching that girl show? I was like, what you mean a girl show? It's like, and he didn't understand because he's looking at it like from a Disney standpoint, like this isn't a show that he was going to watch. And it was funny because I believe they said something like, oh, you ready to be my wife again or something like that. So I thought it was going to be all cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but, I'd love to know. Hopefully they can squash that beef like Ryder Strong, who plays Sean, says, like, Corey, Ben Savage, like one of the most important people in his life.
Right.
I mean, their friendship, like everybody, that was like a model friendship for guys. Growing up, you say, oh, man, if you watch movies, oh yeah, that's my boy. We like Corey and Sean. To points like, did he like him? Did he like Sean more or Topanga more? But speaking of podcasts, does the name Podcast P ring a bell? That's Paul George. Paul George announced that he will be stepping away from the podcast.
Wow.
And I believe we may have talked about this on air or a couple weeks ago. At one point, he had more field goals, that's baskets made, more podcast clips than field goals made.
That's wild.
Right. And first of all, when he made the announcement, he didn't even have his microphone hooked up. So, me as an audio person, like, dude, I get you making this video, but at least go out with a bang. But, the 76ers signed him to a 4-year, $212 million contract.
Wow.
They, as of this recording, I should say a couple of days ago, because I ain't checked the stats, they play in the city of Philly. You remember the Super Bowl? They haven't won a game since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That's been a long time.
That is a long time.
Now, mind you, this was a team that was supposed to compete. They went out and got Paul George as an answer to your New York Knicks, putting him out in the playoffs. And instead, they've trended in the wrong direction. People say he should shut down. But what's crazy is, over the time, right? Over those last games, since he's shut the pod down, he has averaged over 17 points a game, where before he was in about the 16-point range, 5.6 rebounds, whatever. So his numbers have gone up since he shut down the podcast.
I always feel like with professional athletes, like y'all are getting paid millions upon millions, ridiculous money. Like, I don't think you should be doing side gigs until you're like the best of the best of the best. Like, why are you potting if your fucking team is losing? We just, you're assigned to all this money. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, bro, it just don't make sense to me. The fact that y'all, like, first of all, it kind of takes away the stories. You know what I mean? Like, before it was like, all right, it was cool. Now, if we get in the stories during the season, now you have somebody like Draymond Green. He's good at it. Yeah, he's done like TV hits. But again, it's enough podcasts out here. There's enough retired players doing it. I don't need, and granted, I've heard the argument of, well, why am I potting during the season? I would be playing a video game or streaming a video game. Is no difference. But there's so much work that goes into this that, I don't know. I'm one that I don't want to see athletes podding, even though I may listen to a couple of them. Look, save that.
Save that for when you're the off season or after you retire. You know, like it's not that serious. Like, be good at the day job that pays you hundreds of millions of dollars first, and then pod. That's how I feel about it.
Nah, I feel you. I'm gonna get one more thing in here. One before we get out of here. One thing I do want to say, because I do want to close out with Beyond the Gates. I do want to say rest in peace to the late great Angie Stone.
Yes. What a tragedy.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate. You know, our thoughts and prayers go out to her family and her loved ones and everybody who's also involved in that car accident. Our prayers go out to them. Also, you know, we lost Gene Hackman. I knew the name, wasn't like, you know, I'm not a big movie buff, but then also Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yes, that broke my heart. I was a huge fan of hers growing up. She was in Harriet the Spy. She was on Nickelodeon. She was on Disney. And of course, my Gossip Girl friends, Miss Georgina Sparks, her character was legendary. And, you know, she had a hard time. You know, you learn about these things after they pass away, unfortunately, like some of these actors and what they're struggling with. And she clearly was having a rough time, like getting jobs and, you know, you don't really know these things. And I think she was sick. I think she had a liver transplant that might not have, her body may not have rejected it. There's still a lot of mystery around her death, but rest in peace, girl.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
condolences to your family and friends and castmates.
Absolutely. Before we got out of here, just want to get some quick thoughts. The first week, Beyond the Gates.
I loved it.
Black soap opera. CBS, huge deal. Daytime follows up right after Bold and Beautiful, which follows up, you know, I'm a huge Young and the Restless fan. Kara Mosley, one of the lead actresses. You know, the story is, one of the main stories. She's divorced from Bill Hamilton, and who is played by Timian Durrett. And you know, that's a very interesting storyline.
It is. I really enjoyed this show so far, and I don't usually watch soap operas, so it's like, wow, I have a new episode to watch every single weekday. Like, this is amazing. So we will definitely be watching it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you who don't watch soap operas like that and you're hooked, you know, because I was like, the first couple episodes, like, all right, I hope you should like it. Because, you know, we binge watched the first 4 on Thursday. And I was like, and I remember I said, okay, it's following the formula. I said, but we're going to get that Friday cliffhanger. Which we did as the time we recorded.
Yes.
We got that Friday cliffhanger. So we say spoiler alert right here.
Yeah.
Yes, spoiler alert. You know, Danny shoots.
We don't know who she shoots.
Oh, that's true.
We just know that she showed up to the wedding with a gun and someone got shot. Or a shot was fired. And that's all we know until Monday.
And yeah, you can't even tell in the preview who was shot.
Exactly.
So I'm excited. I thought they had an incredible week. I'd
be
interested to know
kicked it off
the ratings.
very well. Me too. I was trying to look to see if there was any online, but we'll soon find out. So yeah, check it out. If you're a soap opera person or you just want a new show to get into, this is a great chance because it's a complete new soap opera that we hopefully will be watching for the next. How long you been watching Young and the Restless?
I've been watching
20 years.
Not 20 years. What year is this? What year are we in?
2025.
So I've been watching Young and the Restless for 11 years.
Okay.
My mother obviously probably been watching over 40 plus years. So yeah, but I've been watching it for 11 years, which is crazy to think like, wow, I've really been watching it that long. And I've seen so many peaks and valleys, so many different characters. But yeah, I would love to be watching this for the next decade. And like I said, they follow the formula and I'm excited about it.
Great actors. I love the actors in it. Everything has been great.
Yeah, good clean video too. You know. But before we get out of here, you want to let people know where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me on all socials at Queen3_PR. And you can also follow my women's wrestling podcast called Those Wrestling Girls, brought to you by Revolt Podcast Network. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, you can catch me here on the 6HM Production YouTube channel every week, making videos with this handsome guy right here.
You. Well, I'm sitting next to the most beautiful woman in the world, and you can follow me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms. Check out Ring of Wrestling Show on all your favorite podcast platforms. Check out The Wrestling Realm. And ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us. Until the next time, you're like, wait, what is he going to say? Till the next time, don't let anybody place a ceiling above your success. Don't let nobody get in your way to succeed. So long, everyone.